right. Hello and welcome. How are you doing on what I hope is a fantastic March the 11th? And I got to pronounce that carefully because allegedly I keep skipping into the future whenever I say the dates.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
you do. I'm surprised you got it right tonight, Matthew.
Well, I mean, I'm staring right at the date on my computer. I do every
Well, you,
week, but I slur
well, I
it.
was just going to say,
So March the 2nd, because, or like I said February 2nd, and everyone said I said February 22nd. No, I said February the 2nd. So pronunciation, I'm working on it. And hey to everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining. I know it was kind of last minute in the subscription feed, so hopefully everyone shows up in the long term here. Hopefully everyone is quite aware of my shenanigans and knows knows to check at 9 o'clock exactly to see, well, 902, 904, something like that, to make sure I actually started the stream. And Jeff, how's it going today?
oh, it's going fairly well. I'm not in my usual place. I'm actually in Ohio tonight.
Oh, nice.
So, on my laptop, image looks a little bit different. Don't have my green screen, so my arms or hands may cut in and out a little bit. Got different background tonight. Don't have
You-
like I said, my green screen. So,
You're just like the shadow spiders. You're slipping in and out of dimensions at will,
oh, yeah. Hmm. Are you calling me a shadow?
or the light
Uh,
spiders.
the, the light spiders?
The well, I was thinking. I don't know if we actually came up with the, or if I came up with the name for those, but we saw them in one episode, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right? So I mean
Back in
they
season
kind of had the
one.
same je ne sais quoi as the shadow spiders, except they seem to be a light version of them.
Okay.
Oh. And Joel is warning you that you either have a Centauri hairdo or you need to look out behind you.
Well, I have a different headset on tonight, and I do need to look out behind me because, yeah, I've got something scary behind me. Oh no, it's the shadow spiders.
Okay, Robert's voting for the hairdo. I mean, you could have a Centauri hairdo.
Well, I guess I don't know. It's not sticking up high enough, I don't think.
And they kind of do the wigs. At least the Emperor did. I mean, okay, so he didn't in the one episode we saw him in, but it was implied that he usually went around in the wig, which is very much the kind of French bourgeois kind of mindset. They always had the giant powdered wigs and stuff.
Omni says, "Oh, that's a friendly ship. That's why Kefir went looking for those ships because they're friendly."
So friendly. And they just teleported him onto their ship. It looked
Hey,
like they
that
were blowing him up, but no, it's teleportation.
if you want to call it that, okay. I don't know if I buy it. JMS says differently.
Well, I mean, you can only
Uh-oh.
trust the creator so far.
And I apologize. I'm right by railroad tracks, and we've got a train coming. So,
Well, the good news is I can't hear that at all.
well, it's still coming. So, and we're right by a crossing.
Okay, there it is. I heard it just ever so slightly.
So
Ooh.
I might have to mute because it could get quite loud.
Well, no worries if it does. I'm okay with it. But no, okay.
They they don't last long, so
Talking about the French updo stuff with the fancy wigs. I'm
hmm
sure you are all quite familiar with the song Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hat and
Sure.
called it macaroni.
Macaroni. Yeah.
Have you ever wondered why they call it macaroni?
I have wondered, and I'm sure you're going to tell us.
I am going to tell you. Macaroni was the trendy thing. So it wasn't macaroni the pasta. It's the way that we'd call something like in vogue. And so they are making fun of Americans, saying that, oh, he put a single feather in his hat and he thought he was being trendy. He thought he was being macaroni.
Got it.
There you go. So it was actually a diss on Americans. And we said, you know what? That's a jaunty little tune. It's ours now.
We wear it proud.
We do. It's hard to insult an American. We don't care. They're
That's
like,
true.
well,
Usually that's true.
you Americans are so full of yourself. I disagree, but okay. You know,
Okay.
I
Hey,
I look at
Robert
my
says
president.
dudes
He
were
might be a
well
little full
dressed men, and dudes did not macaroni. Hmm.
yeah.
Yes, Thomas, I do look different. There's
Hair.
a reason for that. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm no longer Sebastian. I've got Centauri hair.
And that's right, Joel. The year
And
is
yes,
2266 now. At least I'm assuming it's going to be 2266.
2260.
Excuse me, yes, 2260.
Six,
I got into doubles
60.
there.
And I'm going to have to mute. Here comes the train.
Hey, Darren Wagner, how you doing, man? State of Connecticut made Yankee Doodle the state song despite feminists who didn't like the line about letting the girls be handy. Oh, and with the girls be handy. Yeah, I mean, you know, the Red Green Show, he made the same point all the time. That if the girls don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. And not talking, see, they're just misunderstanding. He's not saying, like, hey, would the girls be inappropriately touching? He's saying, hey,
Oh,
you
no.
know, be useful to them, be handy.
Right. Use your hands to be useful.
Yeah.
Do things productively. I always loved that show.
It's a fun show. I mean, it
Yes, it
finally went
is.
off the air, I'm pretty sure.
I think they've done specials and stuff since, but I had one recently, I think, too.
Oh, that's cool. I need to look it up. The guy who did it, uh, that wasn't his natural voice, but he said
No,
he
no,
he
it
did the
wasn't.
voice for so long that he got in, like, it was harder for him to talk normally than to talk in the red green voice. But there was, like, he used to
He
have a
became the character.
he did he used to have a talent show, a variety show, him and his wife together. Uh, and they do like these Weird Al Yankovic parody type songs. Like,
Oh,
they
wow,
weren't
I didn't know
parodying
that.
music. They're just silly songs. Like he had one about how his uncle Jack was a Mountie, and a Mountie at time must commit many crimes just to keep you from breaking the law. Or what's the other ones he did? Um, he's got the Silent Majority Blues. He'd give up his leisure shoot just to have some sort of minority.
Mhm.
He's a uh, oh no, I'm a wasp. What am I gonna do? But he just do all
Joel
sorts of
says,
silly things like that. Jones and Jones, I think that was
Joel's
the name of it.
okay. Joel says that the Red Green Show is coming back with new animated episodes. So I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that'll work, but we'll see.
Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna go to YouTube and watch the old red green stuff.
Oh, yeah. When I go to the laundromat, sometimes they'll have that on one of the TVs. I think it's on Roku,
Perfect.
and they've got different Roku channels going. They got like a game show channel, and they've got Red Green. They've got um, oh, the guy that paints that painted um, uh, can't think of his name.
Oh, I got no hope.
Paint the happy little trees.
Oh, Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
I actually got it. Wow.
You did. Amazing. You got the date and you got the name. You're on a roll.
I am. Let's see if I can keep this up. Uh,
All right.
and yeah, Thomas,
Sounds
the
good.
Red Green Show, excellent, classic. What was the that style of show called? It was I mean, it was a variety show, but
Variety show. Yeah, variety show, comedy, variety.
they did it in the style of the public broadcasting stations used to let just random people do a show.
Oh, public. Um,
You know, it was basically YouTube before YouTube. They just get up there and they'd be like, "Hey, today
Public
I'm going to talk
access.
to you about stamps. Stamps are amazing." And
Thank you,
yeah,
Darren.
yeah, public access TV. They did it in that sort of style.
Yeah, yeah.
And the more popular it got, the more they kind of broke out into skits and um, he'd do things like, hey, he's gonna fix up this old car, and by the end of the skit, it was just entirely duct taped up, and
Handyman's weapon, secret weapon, that is.
yeah, on the Wayne's World that was on public access.
Thomas, you've never heard of the Red Green Show. I am shocked.
Oh, you're missing out. You at least gotta watch a random
Hilarious stuff.
episode.
Watch it on YouTube.
Like just pick anything and commit yourself to watching the entire 20-minute episode. And you're gonna get to the end and be like, this was so dumb. And then watch another one.
Exactly.
'Cause
My favorite skits were Adventures with Bill. They filmed it in black and white, the old film style. It kind of skipped the frames every so often. Got the snowy effect in the background. That was just great. Thomas says, after you finish Voyager reviews.
harsh, harsh.
And Nomad.
And Nomad. Wow, wow. Hmm. It sits here condemning me every day. Every day I look at this and I just go, yes.
Now, does Salty ever ask you, where's Nomad, Matthew?
He doesn't. He is
He
smart.
doesn't. Well, he's smart. He is smart.
Yeah, it's sketch comedy. It's sketch comedy done in a public access style.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch, I swear, I'm pretty sure it was called Jones and Jones. Um, Let me double check this real quick. Jones and Jones TV show. No, I lost the streak. I wasn't right. Whatever his real name is, it was him and his wife, and they did a legit TV show. So it wasn't just that he was like, "Hey, here's something I'm just going to throw together." Like it was actually a done up production. They just did it in that style.
Stephen Smith Jr. is his name.
Smith and Smith. I will count that as close. I mean, Jones, Smith, they're both those generic names.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, a Canadian sketch comedy series.
Darren, yeah, Salty is smart. Sometimes he's too smart for his own good, and he gets into trouble.
I desperately miss his Borg series. Speaking of needing to finish reviews, the Borg series, fantastic. Like when he would do the videos breaking down a movie or breaking down like something in Star Trek, amazing content. I loved it so much. And one of these days, I'm gonna get back into maybe putting up a video every once in a while. It'd be very fun.
Ooh.
I have a folder full of stuff I need to work on, but there's just no time in the day anymore. Like my days are so filled from beginning to end.
I know what you mean. Darren says he'll behave himself from now on.
You don't have to behave. I'm just not going to
Well,
misbehave with you. Well, hey, how
Matthew
about
is very forgiving. Oh,
I
by
try
the
to
way,
be?
you mentioned that you lose kids every so often. Well, I almost lost a kitten tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the front door somehow was ajar, and we could not find the kitten for a few minutes. Luckily, he was inside. He didn't go out, but we thought he did.
Where was he hiding?
We don't know. He was in the front room somewhere behind the couch or something.
Very funny, Joel. Very funny. Was it a door or a jar?
It was a door that was ajar. I'm
Whoa.
going to stick with that.
So let's go ahead and get started here. Kind of stalled a little bit. Let people get here. I do apologize for kind of getting late or the late notification, but I honestly wasn't
That
sure.
was that was my fault.
I probably should have checked in with you before 10 o'clock last night. To be
Well,
fair.
you know,
Uh, but we're good. Everyone's kind of trickled in, so let's go ahead and get started. Uh, and I was actually very proactive. Go ahead and join us in the link that is pinned. Look at me.
wow. How
I
about that?
know. I had it
Matthew, you're
ready to
just
go.
you're just with it tonight. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see how I can blow this. Um, so the way this works, everyone, is hopefully you will come and join us in the screening room, and that just syncs up all of our watch time together, so that as I'm saying something completely off subject, you have a reference for what I'm not talking about. Uh, or you can mute me and hear the audio on the screening room area. Uh, if you are here in the future, sorry, you can't go to the screening room. That's only for right now. You will have to have your own copy of Babylon 5. And you can get that by buying it digitally on any of the services, Amazon, YouTube, Google Play, Apple Store. I don't know. Pick a digital service. You can buy it there. Or you can stream it for free on Roku
Roku, you got
and
another one.
UBTV.
Uh, oh, you're so close. Tubi,
Tubi
Tubi.
TV. What's
Yes,
UBTV?
Tubi TV. I don't know.
Is UBTV anything, or am I just?
Are you thinking of Ubisoft or Ubisoft or whatever it is, a
I
software
I do a
company?
lot of Ubisoft stuff. Yeah,
Ubisoft. Okay.
but I,
And it's also on Discovery Plus. Thank you, Thomas.
oh, and yes, Omni. Obviously, laser discs and VHS reign as king, but they are analog. Uh, and yes, I am forgiving after he almost killed me with that hot chip. Now I almost killed myself, but thankfully, thankfully I survived the hot chip, and I did not even try. I didn't even try the gummy bear. I think I finally got rid of that one. It sat on my shelf for a long time, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be intelligent and not even give that a bite. Uh,
A good
but
call.
my favorite option, guys. In all honesty, if you go to Amazon, you can buy the physical Blu-ray or DVDs, and the Blu-rays. I think last time I looked, they were like $75 for all 5 seasons. They don't include the movies, but hey, 5 seasons, $75. That's a pretty good deal, in my opinion. That's like,
Real good deal. I don't have my prop tonight. I don't have my Blu-ray box, but
what is that? That's $15 a season, I want to say, around that.
yeah, about.
75 divided by 5. I think that's season once has, yeah, 15.
And
I
it
don't trust
looks
it,
like
but it's
it
15.
is. It's still 75.89 on Amazon as of right now.
Pretty good. Pretty good. And the great thing
Pretty
about
good.
that is you never, ever have to worry about the service no longer streaming it, like Amazon. It was
That's
included with
right.
Prime until like 3 weeks ago, and then things happen. Licenses change, streaming rights expire.
No, Thomas, it's not 8 seasons. And
So
Omni is saying it's still on Prime. I was told it was going off Prime. I don't have Prime, but
now, is it on Prime to buy or is it on Prime to watch?
I think it's still on there to buy. But just to stream it, I don't think it is.
The same Prime to stream?
Prime,
Here,
Prime.
I'm pulling it up
Okay.
right now because I do have.
I had
See,
okay.
Babylon 5, the
Thomas says Cinnabon
movies.
looked. Thomas said he Cinnabon looked and he could watch it on Prime. So
All
maybe
right.
it did not leave Prime, or maybe they got it back, or maybe they re-upped it at the last second. I don't
Uh,
know. But
okay,
so
so
many people were saying it was not going to be on Prime anymore.
it's not. I have it pulled up right
It's
now, and it says season one leaves Prime in 4 days on the Ides
okay.
of March.
Wow. Okay.
You always gotta be aware of the Ides of March. At least, so season one is gone in 4 days. Let's see if season five in 4 days. Okay, yeah, so 4 days if you still want to watch on Amazon Prime. And after that, I mean, so here's the weird thing. I don't know if you'll even be able to buy it digitally on Amazon. We'll check it. We'll
Well,
check it.
if it's on the other ones, I would think they would still have it too. And it's on Apple, it's on Google, it's on YouTube, it's on, all these different places. I bet you can still get it to buy anyway.
Hey, Putin's. Yeah, so yeah, Roku has it with ads. So does Tubi TV.
And it's on Discovery Plus, and maybe that's without ads. I don't know. I don't have Discovery Plus.
So the point is, there are lots of options, but my end suggestion, my end recommendation, you buy the physical media because then you have it forever. You don't have to worry about them compressing the video quality way down. You get to enjoy it at a crisp Blu-ray 4K resolution, or I guess Blu-ray is 1080p, whatever resolution.
1080p.
And that's just for the main stuff. They did their best to upscale the digital scenes or the CGI scenes,
Yeah,
but you can't redo that, unfortunately. So
that would be considerable time and money.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, let's jump into the episode. I guess I had some generic predictions. By any chance do you have
You did.
those?
I, I I actually do. You said that
Wow.
well, you went on a general description of each season. You said season one focused on the humans, season two focused on Dolores and her change to the hybrid human Membari, and focused on Membari in general. And you thought that season three will focus on the Narn, how they build up the resistance force, how all this will affect Jakar. Season four, you said would focus maybe on the Centauri, and then season five, the Vorlons. Now, you also said that all the seasons would have all the different races in it, but each one would have its own focus. But specifically for this episode, you said that this would focus on Jakar and how he feels he is acting honorably when everyone else is acting dishonorably around him. According to him, the humans are acting dishonorably because they signed a non-aggression pact with the Centauri, and they've got their own internal issues going on. Delenn has no power, but she is wanting to help the Narn, saying that she's going to do what she can, but she has no power to do it, so she's being dishonorable and claiming she can help. Kosh is being his usual aloof self. Londo is the biggest betrayer of them all, and the Centauri is increasing their expansion. The Earth is increasing their power. Jakar just feels helpless in the situation. So that's kind of what you said last week.
And Jill's saying, well, I can forget about that prediction. We'll see. The episode has yet
Oh,
to begin.
and Kefir will save the day.
Well, I got I gotta take that one back now. I guess this will be the last episode I get to say that since Kefir was deleted right out of
Actually, you
existence.
didn't say that. I just ad-libbed that. So
Okay.
you
All
didn't
right.
say that.
So let's find out if I'm right. I'm going to give you a quick 3 countdown in case you're here in the future and you want to sync up your watch time to our watch time. So 3, 2, 1, hit that play button, everyone. And I did realize, and first of all, Putin's cat, um, the one that you want to buy, if you want to buy the upgraded version of it, is I've seen it on Amazon. It's the Blu-ray version, and that's just where they upgraded the quality of the film, what we're seeing right now. But they weren't able to upgrade the CGI stuff. That was all done like a Commodore or not Commodore, an
Amiga.
Amiga. Interesting. So, Kosh is saying that being seen by so many people at once is a great strain on him, and he had to return to his ship to rest.
Which
And
to me says that he has to do something to make everyone see what he wants them to see.
yeah,
If he has a lot of people watching, then it takes a lot out of him.
like almost as if he has to expend psychic energy and project images into people's minds.
Something. I mean, we don't get a good explanation of it. You know, if you noticed at the beginning, we saw the repairs to the station outside, as well as to um, the the little train that goes through the
Mm-hmm.
station because they were both damaged in that last episode.
And so okay, so Sheridan, he he's he, he was pointing out like, hey, I have no way of
Good.
knowing that you're the same Vorlon. You've been back and forth from your home world several times. How do I know that you're the same Vorlon inside that suit? And uh, Kosh's response is, I have always been here. And Sheridan goes, hey, you said the same thing about me. And Kosh just goes, yes. He goes, I really hate it when you do that. Yes. So we are seeing there is a bit of a time jump. Um, I feel like between season 1 and 2, it was a more harsh time jump where they really had to reestablish a lot with Sheridan now that Sinclair was gone.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh, but they are trying to establish that it's been a little while since we've seen the people on the station. We're seeing repairs underway. It's been several weeks. And here's someone with a British accent.
Very good. Joel, I don't agree with that description. He says, here comes Kefir version 2.0.
Oh, hey, and it's Vanaba doing the intro this time.
Yes.
Oh, the Babylon 5 project was our last best hope for peace. It failed.
Now, if you recall the last episode, she said that at the end of that episode.
And at the year of the Shadow War, it became something greater, our last best hope. And I saw in the credits there for a second the guy from the ship just now, the British dude,
You did.
or the
Hmm.
British gent. And they definitely have they've changed the music very much so. It's a lot less
Yes.
of an upbeat tone and a much more somber. Oh, he's in the credits even. All right.
Yes. Marcus Cole.
Uh, uh,
And Zach
and
Allen is in the credits.
look at
Jeff
that. Good for
Conaway.
him.
Yeah. Yeah. They upgraded him.
Which at the end of last week, I was actually hoping, I was coming that I was hoping that we'd see more of him, that they wouldn't just write him off with his work being done last season. But yeah, Kay Roberts is very much like a somber war kind of epic fantasy feel.
That's a good question, Joel. We did see Star Furies firing at other Star Furies in the intro credits.
Ooh. And Sinclair's he's saying he's tired of all these surprise
Sheridan.
visits from secret VIPs who refuse to tell us why they're coming here.
Sheridan.
Did I say Sinclair?
He did.
Did. Sheridan. And I missed his name, but he is with the Earth Force Defenses Secret Division.
And yeah, his name is Ndawi.
Hmm. Hmm. Let's see how I butcher that name.
David Ndawi. And he was actually in Star Trek twice. He was in a Voyager episode as Admiral Bullock, an 8472 uh, in the disguise of an admiral
Okay.
in the flesh. And then he appeared as a Xindi primate counselor in Enterprise.
Oh. If I can hug the donkey. Oh, Mercer, that was such a good sci-fi series.
Indeed.
And Franklin seems to notice something about the emblem. Okay, so they're zooming in. He's
Let's
talking about how he's not going anywhere. So I'm assuming he's going to be right behind him. Oh, no, he's gone. He's gone when he woke up.
He's just gone. And notice MedLab is new.
Oh. And hey, look, there's the discount Rod Sterling.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Malden. Is is it me or is the audio out of sync?
I'm hoping it's you.
Okay.
And so Londo is saying, now that the Narn War is over, I think it's time we reassess the nature of our relationship. And the Mr. Morton saying, uh, recognizing that now that the war is over, you want us just to disappear. And Londo goes, exactly, you've hit the nail on the head. And now it's interesting. So Rod Sterling, he's like, don't you think that's a little premature? And kind of implying like, don't the Centauri want to take over even more?
Oh, did you hear that little sound?
Was it a little like,
Sound like a little audio glitch. They heard the same sound when they had discount Rod Sterling in the cell.
hmm? So Sterling is saying that he has this one last little bookkeeping thing to close out, and then let's meet up in your quarters afterwards, and it'll be the last time we see each other until you want to see us again. And Mercer, I can bring back that background for you. I mean, it's not quite the same without actually having the whole stream going, but there you go. Okay, so uh, Davey, mind if I call you Davey? He's cool. He's cool with that. Davey, he
Wow.
he's asking about the demise of Kefir,
Kefir.
and um, they're talking about how he went off mission, he got himself killed. Um, Davey's asking, was he authorized for first contact protocols? And the answer is no. And they're talking about how it's a species. They got a video, and it's a species totally unknown to them. The ship was big, and now they want to know what it is, where it's from. And so his job is to find out what Delin or Dolores or any of the other races know about it. And she claims that it's the first time that she's ever seen a ship like this. She's not exactly a person I would describe as having a poker face. Mercer, I wish I had that on tap that I could toss your way. But he's asking if Dolores has ever seen a ship like this, and she takes a close look at it and goes, "No, no, I've never seen it." And Davy's saying that he needs to
Minbari, don't,
talk,
don't, sorry.
just that he needs to talk to the rest of the staff. Oh, so this is the first time Sheridan's seen it.
Yes.
Okay, so she was telling the truth. She's never seen the ship before. She's only heard its
She knew,
descriptions.
she knew what it was. She just never seen one. So she wasn't lying in that regard. Minbari don't lie except to save the honor of someone else. We saw that with Lanier in season one.
Mercer is saying that Salty is doing a long review of Section 31. Is he doing that on live streams, or is he releasing that as videos?
Videos.
It
They're
hasn't been showing up
videos.
in my streams.
He's got a new channel. He may not have subscribed.
Okay, so again, Lanier is showing Delin the what do you call it? The brooch that was on that guy's shirt. And I swear Franklin recognized it. Trevor Lauren, I desperately need to read the Wheel of Time books. Yeah, I've heard to avoid the Wheel of Time TV series, but I've heard nothing but good things about the books.
Yeah, the books are really good. It's just having the time.
Mercer, is it literally called Salty Plus?
Yes.
That's funny. I'm gonna have to. Let's see.
Uh-huh.
Okay, interesting. So Londo has never seen the ship,
No, he hasn't.
but he's saying that
Yep.
he's seen it, but only in his dreams. That he's standing on a planet, and there are ships just
Safari
like
Prime.
this. And this was a vision he had um, just after betraying Jakar, basically.
Yeah, Londo had the vision with the seer. You're right on me.
He says that at first he just sees one, and then more join it until they blot out the sky. There's with there being so many. I think I found it, Mercer. I had to type in salty plus section 31, and that brought up a nerd fight. I look forward to seeing this.
I don't. Anything Section 31, I don't want to see.
I definitely have more fun watching people have aneurysms from having watched it than I had watching it itself.
Wow.
You know, it's the misery loves company. So Marcus,
As
he
we
uses.
know,
Oh, go ahead.
alcohol will produce homicidal rages in Minbari.
That's right. We found that out on the episode where Lanier and Londo were hanging out together, and Lanier
Yep.
and Londo was about to slip him a Mickey to try and get him to loosen up a little bit. And Lanier warned, said, "Oh, the tiniest bit of alcohol would make me go into a homicidal rage." And Londo was like, "Oh, you know what? On second thought, I'm wrong. That's mine." So this Marcus fellow uses the fact that he knows that alcohol is dangerous for Mbari to as proof that he was waiting for them and that his intentions are decent. We got this Steven Seagal looking character. Ah, so this they're being mugged, and this guy is saying, I don't like insults," and Marcos responds with, "That's funny. With a face as ugly as yours, I thought you would have been used to it." And so apparently they all had like collapsible bow staff sort of things.
It's a fighting pike, and just one. Marcus's.
And we found out, I want to say in that same episode, that Lanier is an expert fighter.
Yes, we did. Now, the fighting pike, that was all physical, except for the part where it extended. That was CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Josh is saying the audio and video are out of sync. I had to refresh Josh to get it to sync up again.
Okay, so Marcus is a ranger. And, and Sheridan was about to explain who the Rangers were, but Ivanova gives us the full Monty on who they are. And he's like, "What? When did you? How did you?" And Ivanova says, "The day that something happens around here and I don't know about it, worry."
I love Ivanova.
Now, personally, I assume that Garibaldi has kept Ivanova in the loop. And so they're saying that they had a ranger training base on Gehazi, the Drazi,
A Drazi outpost.
and the Drazi
Colony.
were the people that fought over the purple and the green.
Yep. And the ship that got Marcus out, the pilot was a Drazi.
And apparently, it was a Centauri blockade that
Yep.
surrounded them, which, very interesting that it's the Centauri who are specifically targeting the Rangers. I somewhat doubt that
Well,
Londo's aware
I
of this aspect.
I think it's more because it's a Drazi planet, and they're going having skirmishes with their neighbors after the Narn War. So I don't think they're aware of the Rangers.
Hmm. So
Although,
Marcus, excuse me.
although just wait, you'll get more of an explanation here in a few minutes.
Okay. Uh, so Marcus was asking for help with breaking the blockade, but they're saying with what? We don't exactly have a fleet, but they have
Or a
decided
warship.
to do something.
Well, Marcus says that they have the means. He's taken them to those means.
So he's saying, Mr. Morden, he's explained that uh, that as long as you want to break ways, let's make sure you understand the nature of the agreement. And he shows, here's one arm of the Milky Way. You do everything you want on that side of it, and we won't bother you. Everything else, that's ours.
So Centauri can do what they want in about 30% of the galaxy. The rest are Mr. Morden's associates territory.
So uh, he makes a Columbo comment. Um, he goes, "Oh, there's one more thing, a small thing, hardly worth mentioning, but we want this planet. It's importance to us, but of nothing to you." And so he's saying, leave the mines, but have your forces pull out of that area immediately. You don't want your forces around when my associates show up. So I wonder. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll find out in a minute. But I'm curious why specifically the Shadow Spiders want this planet. Is it just because the Rangers are here, or are the Rangers here because there's something special about this planet that makes it ideal for um, their training?
It's the Defiant. I mean, the White Star.
Oh.
Paramount did it again.
So they're calling this the White Star, and they're giving it to the captain, which is
Yep,
interesting because that kind of potentially changes the nature of the show,
it
where it opens up
does.
the
That's a good point.
ability to go outside the station.
This scene's funny.
So Garibaldi, he makes this funny speech about how he makes a point of knowing the things that he's supposed to know, and the things that he's not supposed to know, he makes a point of not telling himself and not letting anyone tell him either. And then they've talked to all the other ambassadors. He said, "Just go talk to Jakar without me," but he's not allowed to. Uh, the Earth Defense Forces officially aren't allowed to talk to Jakar because they don't recognize the uh, Narn government. And so Garibaldi responds with, "Then do it unofficially. I have it on good authority that the head of security won't say anything if you do." Hey, take it easy, Mercer.
I think the film grade got better in season three. The show looks better.
That would make sense. Kind of willing to
They
put in more
did get
resources.
more money in season three,
I
and
like that moment
they
right
were
there for the
able
record.
to upgrade the film grade, build new sets like this one.
So there's a real funny, cute moment as they're walking under the bridge where Dolores and Sheridan kind of had to like awkwardly get close to each other and gave each other a little smile look. Super VHS. Wow. And who was it? Someone was pointing out, Omni was pointing out that Sheridan blew up the Black Star. And so it's kind of neat that they're giving him the White Star. And so Jakar has seen the ship. He's seen it in his uh his holy text. And apparently the Shadow Spiders came to the Narn homeworld thousands of years ago before they had ever gone to space, and they set up a base on one of their southern continents. And he's saying that he tried to warn the others that the ancient enemy was here, but no one would listen. And he talks about how uh, they that this the holy text of theirs was hand copied from the generations with extremely precise detail, every letter, every line. Jaquan, that's it, the Book of Jaquan.
Yep. Don't thump the book of Jaquan.
Josh, I did not hear them say that the Grey Council didn't even know about the White Star's existence. So is that a um Imbari ship?
It is a combination of Imbari and Vorlon technology built by the religious caste.
Oh, and that would be why the council may not be aware of it. The religious
Especially
caste has
since,
been not completely pushed out, but displaced.
yeah, they're no longer equal numbers.
Hey, Texas. Yeah, sorry, I did a late
From
announcement
Texas.
today.
It was my fault, Texas. Apologize. CGI looks better too in this season.
I'm extremely curious why they care about this planet. But the captain is worried about a Centauri warship being left behind, and there he's like, I don't like this. There's no one around. You don't just abandon a blockade. Sheridan says, "Are you sure all your scanners are working properly?" And Linear goes, "Would you like to see for yourself?" Yes. So do you really think that the Defiant's existence was inspired by the White Star?
Well, they both appeared in the first episode of the third season of both shows. And supposedly Paramount had the Babylon 5 Bible.
And
Probably not.
there's this, the Shadow Spiders. I wonder about that because I mean it does make sense that as your series progresses to open up the area that you can cover in it by giving them some means of transportation beyond just a runabout. Like if you want them to actually be able to put up a fight where they go, they need something more than a runabout to get blown up.
Ooh.
So they're noticing that the shadow spiders miss and they never miss. And so they're recognizing that the reason they're missing is because they want to cripple them, that they don't recognize the nature of the ship and they want to figure out who they are before they blow them up. Kind of evaluate, is this a new race that we need to be worried about?
Look at that CGI. It's beautiful.
And I like the detail they did right there where the shadow spiders they went into hyperspace, but they did not really go through the jump gate.
Yes. I just kind of shimmered away into hyperspace.
I thought he was going to say that. So she's saying we have no hope of destroying a ship of that size alone. And he says, with all due respect, Ambassador, I've heard that before. And Ivanova is asking a good question. Why didn't you want the enemy to know that we could create our own jump point to hyperspace? And he's asking, Commander, have you ever wondered what would happen if you opened up a, a jump gate or a jump point within a jump gate? She goes, no, and neither should you. The Earth Defense Forces uh, experimented with that, but um, they weren't able to get out quick enough before the gate blew up. And Josh is saying, didn't the Defiant come in at season 4 or yeah, season 4 episode 1?
No, it was season 3. Worf came in at season 4.
And so he's going to an abandoned system right now to blow up their jump gate or to use their jump gate as a means of blowing it up. And he says, I'm choosing this system because it's been abandoned, and the only people going there are people who are uh, raiding it for resources. I don't like grave robbers, so I'm going to take care of two problems at once.
Nice callback to the Marcab.
Poor Marcab.
Yeah.
And so they blew up the jump gate. It seems like it damaged at least the Shadow Spider ship, and they were able to get away.
They were fast enough.
And they were just saying, I was just thinking that in all my years at Temple, nothing ever prepared me for this. So I will submit a proposal to advise the teachers to revise their curriculum.
Yes, K. Roberts. Boom today.
And I do like that they couldn't just set off the open a hyperspace portal in the jump gate and then open a second one because they've established that it takes time to charge up the capacitors. That you can't just come out of warp and immediately go back into warp, then come out and go in and come out and go in. So they're making up this lie about the reason they were gone is because they had to tow an Mbari shuttle that was disabled, and it's not in the logs because it was a delicate ambassador issue and had to be handled with all delicacy.
And Omni makes a good point. They couldn't bring the White Star back to the station.
And did they mention where they're keeping the White Star?
I would imagine where they originally ordered her. Oh, Earth Dome, Geneva.
So Davey is saying that his official report is saying that uh, no one knows the ship or where it came from. He did come across some interesting stories though, so he's apparently either covering up the fact that he talked to Jakar, or since it was in a religious book, the Jaquan, he is writing it off as mere coincidence. Dun dun dun.
Cheap Rod Sterling.
And I dare say that's a Psycor person in the back based on the emblem.
Yep. And
So that,
yes, that is not Buster. That is not Buster.
yes, not Buster. Uh, and this kind of confirms some speculations I was making last season that it seems that the Earth government, the vice president that took over, might be affiliated with the Shadows people, just based on
Mm.
their doings.
Mixed with the Psychor.
So he's saying that up until now, just him and Dolores and maybe Garibaldi had all the information on these shadows, and uh, I'm assuming he's kind of opening that up. That lack of information can kill you. So he's expanding the circle of people who know about this. He's making a war council. And did he say we'll meet 1 week from now or 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks, unless something urgent happens.
So I'm going to be curious if they kind of follow that. Like episode 3, they'll be doing something about this, or episode 5, kind of like touching on it every other week. A little wink, wink, nod, nod. And Franklin saying, I know I'm usually down the med lab and I don't get to do much, but can someone please tell me what these shadows are? And so she begins to tell everyone as we pan out, and like, okay, we've heard all this information. We're just showing that she's now disseminating this information to everyone else. That race are the
Now,
shadows.
I will point out that each season is roughly a year. Well, it is a year. So you have 22 episodes. Each episode is about 2 or so weeks after the prior one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It
So
isn't strictly that. Sometimes you get a jump, or 2 episodes will be closer together.
okay, so that's more like every week then. So it
Yeah,
is it is a bit of a wink and a nudge, but uh
yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, that was an interesting episode. As it got started, I did realize that my prediction would be wrong. And it makes sense because with the time skips they do between seasons, they do take an episode to kind of reestablish what has happened in the interim time and where we are at now because of that skip. So I did think we would focus a lot more on Jakar, even with that time skip. So I'm honestly a little bit surprised that um, that was such a Jakar light episode. I'd almost say he had a cameo appearance as opposed to a natural role in this episode. So with that
Yeah, I'd agree
said,
with that. He wasn't in it very much.
we did get a look at what each of the 5 main characters or ambassador race people are doing. We got to see that Kosh has been recovering because he's worn out. We see that Londo wants to end his relationship, which, interesting point here. Londo willing to end the relationship with Morden, and Morden's willing to end it with him. Excuse me. But then Morden started to set up things with Rifa.
Yes. And what does that mean for Londo himself? Does he
Right?
become less important in the grand scheme?
Right. So it seemed like Londo, in his mind, was cutting off relations between Morden and his associates and the Centauri's. And it turns out that nope, the the associates will still be dealing with the Centauri. You're just not in the picture anymore. So definitely not what Londo was expecting there. Uh, we got to see obviously what's going on with Delenn and Sheridan.
Who?
Dolores, excuse me. I've been getting her name a little mixed up today.
Well,
Dolores
you got Sheridan
and
mixed up with
Sinclair.
Sinclair too.
uh, so they're really making Sheridan and Dolores kind of a pair. So what happens to one is kind of happening to the other right now.
Well, they are sharing responsibility for the Rangers in that area of space, so kind of makes sense.
Omni saying, yeah, Kosh is making jokes, Londo is drinking, Jakar is depressed, and Dolores is Dolores.
There you go. There you go. The senator at the end, the last scene, next to last scene there, she was played by Kitty Swink, and she was also in Star Trek. She played Minister Rosanen Bajoran in the episode Sanctuary from DS9. And she was also a Vorta in Tacking Into the Wind, DS9. And she was, this isn't a Star Trek role per se, but she's married to Armin Shimmerman, who played
Oh,
Quark.
that's fun.
Yeah.
I I will forever respect Armin for the effort he put in to playing Quark. Like when you find out behind
Yeah.
the scenes, he kind of led up this effort where all the Ferengis would get together and know their lines perfectly for any scene they had. Like they get together beforehand so that when the makeup was put on, because it was a grueling process to get that makeup on, and so he wanted to make sure that
Oh, yeah.
everyone was able, on their end at least, to perfectly be able to do their lines so that the actors playing in those roles were taken care of. And that was his way of looking out for everyone. So I have massive respect for him. The time that he put in outside of being on the set for 7 years is just staggering.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Thomas, I did mention Tucker Smallwood as David Dowie, who played Admiral Bullock, the 8472 in disguise as the
It's true.
Admiral
You
in
did.
Voyager. And he also played Zindi in Enterprise.
Okay, so in all seriousness, the Defiant issue.
Okay.
I don't feel like this is something that Star Trek cribbed off their notes for Babylon 5.
Well, maybe.
And
I
my reason
mean,
for this is it makes intrinsic sense for Babylon 5 or for for Deep Space 9 to have a vessel and to have a wartime vessel. Now it is interesting, and I will grant you this, it is very interesting that at the opening of the third season they are in a position where they need a wartime vessel, the same way that Babylon 5 was needing a wartime vessel. I'll grant you that. But the Defiant was, at the end of the day, a Federation vessel. It wasn't some hybrid ship. If they had leaned into like, oh yes, this is a ship that is a culmination. Well, it did have that Romulan cloaking device.
It did. Yes, that's true.
Even with that, they had one piece of technology that was non-Federation standard. Whereas this ship is truly the embodiment of what Dolores did at the end of the first season, where she merged into this human Embari hybrid creature thing. And that's what this ship is. It's a true unification of these two cultures, uh, with maybe a dash of Vorlon in there. I mean, a big dash of Vorlon in there.
Oh yeah. Joel is saying just one of the 60 plus coincidences between the two shows.
Yeah, and like I said, I
There are
grant
quite a
you,
few.
I grant you that it is a very interesting coincidence that this season 3 DS9 opens on a point where they need to be going to war. And yes, it's very interesting that you hear these rumors about the Dominion, and we never really see the Dominion, but they're out there, and we're making contact with them. And once the Ferengis kind of find out about them, uh, they start become a bigger threat. Like, okay, I will big time grant you that a lot of the plot beats little suspicious. The
I will.
Defiance.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying the Defiant itself. I just don't see it as being one of those crypt notes.
You could be right, although I would think that the White Star would have been in the B5 Bible that Paramount did have. So
I
yeah,
think it would have
it
been
could go
too.
either way.
I do think it would have
Um,
been there. Um,
I, I'll say this though. I would say the Defiant makes DS9 less unique, more so than the White Star makes B5 less unique, because you had the original series, Next Generation, Voyager going on at this time, or in the past. And they all had, a starship that they were exploring space in. DS9 was different. They had the station, they had the runabouts that could go places, but it wasn't a starship.
mhm.
Suddenly you have a starship come in and it makes it less unique. Where in Babylon 5, you didn't have a history, you didn't have prior shows to go
Sure.
by. So it's a natural progression, I think, here where they get this warship, the White Star.
And Omni is I had never heard that before. He's saying that Defiant was only allowed to appear once Enterprise was off the air. I had not heard that.
Uh, next gen.
That's
What do
what
you
I.
mean next gen?
That's what I'm assuming.
Okay. Uh,
Yes, it's true. There is a Star
y-
Trek series called Enterprise. Yes, the Enterprise ship
yeah,
was what I assumed he meant. The
and he
TNG
could be
Enterprise
right. I
ship.
don't know.
And saying that Star Trek producers didn't want anything to take away from the adventures of the Enterprise D on Next Generation. Which, I, okay, I can see producers doing that, but I would also say that's kind of silly because the existence of the Defiant would not take away anything from what's going on with Next Gen.
Well, it's interesting. You also have Voyager starting up around this time that the Defiant was introduced.
Hmm.
So you still have two shows with a starship in it.
I could see their concern being that since Voyager was off in the Delta Quadrant, anything going on in that wouldn't affect what's happening in our neck of the woods. Whereas with the Defiant, having them going around doing stuff in the Federation area, they could be like, well, then why isn't the Enterprise involved? What's going on with this? And so even once it started to do things, it really was they're doing things at Bajor and the Delta Quadrant. Like very rarely did we have them do stuff in the Alpha Quadrant uh until they lost Babylon, or until they
Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Okay. That's okay.
Until they lost Deep Space Nine. Um, and that's true, text. And the wormhole was going to the Gamma Quadrant, which was quite separated away from the Delta.
That's true. That's true.
The Dominion took control of Babylon 5. That is what was coming out of my mouth. Yes, it is.
And the shadows destroyed Deep Space Nine.
You had the Paul Wraiths and the yeah. Yeah.
I love this scene with Garibaldi describing his job as head of security, and he can't let the head of security know things that he shouldn't know, even though he's head of security. And he uses that to delay David, because David's asking about where's Sheridan, where's Ivanova. They're supposed to be available. So he's making stuff up, and then he's deflecting and getting him to talk to Jakar, who he's not supposed to talk to officially. So it's just a big workaround to keep him distracted, to keep David distracted.
So, on that, do you think that Davy discounted Jakar? Do you think he discounted the Book of Jaquan, or do you think he was?
I think he did. Yeah, I mean this was a religious text from over 1,000 years ago, and yeah, the visual drawing in the book, which was supposedly reproduced by hand exactly for each copy made. He did discount it, I believe. But going to that point, Jakar said that the shadows were there 1,000 years ago on Narn, and at about that time, I mean, they lost all their telepaths. The Narn had telepaths at that time, and they lost them all. So what happened? What happened? Did the shadows do something?
I missed that. Interesting.
Well, we know that the Narn don't have telepaths now, but they all died out about 1,000 years ago, and that's when the shadows were there as a base on Narn.
So I don't think this is the case, for the record, but I was thinking this past week how it would be, because we were talking about how Kosh makes it such that he is seen as he wants to be seen, and that the Vorlons have quite deliberately implanted themselves into the mythos of so many races, it seems. And it got me thinking that it would be interesting if the Vorlons were ultimately the bad guys, that they had created a system whereby they are perceived as beings of light and wonder and majesty. And imagine if you had ingrained yourself so much into mythos that you were literally seen as angels, then by de facto standard, anyone fighting the angel is a demon and a being of darkness. And so it would be interesting to me if the shadow spiders weren't necessarily the bad guys, as they were a resistance cell fighting against those who were aligned with the 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 beings of light or the Vorlons. Um, and I'm not saying the Vorlons are the beings of light. I think those are two different races. So that'd be interesting. It'd also be interesting if that's why we're seeing, or that's why maybe the Narn lost the the telepathic abilities. Maybe there's something about the existence of telepaths that feeds the power of the beings of light. So I thought that'd be an interesting take. I don't believe it though, because outside of anything else that happens, when you see what the shadow spiders do, they they tend to uh, damage people. Like they are always fire first, ask questions later. Um, and if you're a resistance cell, maybe you have to do that so you don't get discovered. But I mean, at the same time, it just seems more like anything they do is geared more toward enslavement than just freedom fighters. So,
Thomas asks, are the Vorlons like a god in the center of the galaxy?
maybe, but they need spaceships.
They don't need a starship. They already have their own ships.
I do love a good Arthur C. Clarke book, Trevor Lauren, but I have not read Childhood's End.
I have not read that one either.
Yes, the
So
Vorlons
Sheridan,
are.
Vorlons are indeed. So Sheridan has now destroyed two indestructible enemy vessels, the Black Star and this shadow vessel now.
And I'm really
And he
glad
the
that
White Star to do it.
yeah, I think it was Omni. I'm glad Omni pointed out its name, because that was a I feel like that's a very intentional kind of turning this situation around, that where before the Star Killer was the enemy destroying the Black Star, now he is uh, the Star Killer using the White Star to kill.
We also get a parallel between Marcus, our new character, and Ivanova. They both lost a brother, and that is why they both joined their respective um, entities that they're in now. Marcus being a ranger and Ivanova an Earth Force.
Hmm.
Marcus's brother died as a ranger, and so did Ivanova's brother as an Earth Force officer.
Trevor Lorne, he's saying that in Childhood's End, when the alien visitors eventually revealed themselves, they looked like the traditional image of a devil or demon. I feel like there was a Twilight Zone episode based on that. Yeah, I think Twilight Zone or
It's
Outer
not ringing a
Limits.
bell, but it's not ringing a bell, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, so my predictions were way off, obviously. I'm going to stand by my overall season prediction, and I hope I'm right about that. We'll see what happens.
Now, at the end there, Delenn was lying to Endowie, Davy. And Mabari supposedly don't lie, except for to save face for someone else with their honor. And she was doing
Oh,
that for Sheridan because he was, being drilled about where he was, why he filed a false report, and
it's true.
yeah.
Josh wants to know, did I see the shadow uncloak in the opening? Probably, but
Uh,
I
are,
don't.
are you talking about the opening credits?
I remember seeing them. Wow. I remember seeing them in the credits. Oh yeah, in the credits. Okay. I was trying to think in the opening, the stinger for the episode. I didn't think so. I
Uh,
definitely didn't
No,
remember them. But yes, in the
no, not in
credits.
the stinger. A lot of the scenes in the opening credits were actually taken from season two because they only had two, maybe three episodes filmed for season three at the
Hmm,
point that they created the credits. So they had to take a lot from season two to fill in. But I think this was a good opening episode. Maybe the strongest opening episode so far, but um, it was a simple plot, I thought. Had a lot to do, had to introduce a new character to the show, a main cast character, in fact. We had to introduce the White Star
mm-hmm.
and kind of give a new direction to the show. Sheridan said that it was time that they stop being reactive and be proactive. And so it sounds like they're going to get involved. There's more money involved with the show now. They have more money to work with. They have new sets. The CGI looks better. The film grade looks better. Overall, it looks like a better show. And
Does.
this was a good starting episode, I thought.
All downhill until Kiefer returns. Hey, spoilers, Roberts.
Hmm. So are you
He
saying
makes a
that
cameo as a
Kiefer
skeleton.
Keffer will did not die? We shall see, K. Roberts. We shall see. And Joel Miller says this is the climax of the show. Well, we'll see.
So next week we're going to be doing season 2, which is Convictions. Hmm. I'm going to say that this is going to be. No, did I say season episode 2? It's episode 2, season 3. I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
that this is going to be looking at Londo and uh, seeing or testing his convictions to where he's at right now, where his race is at, how his race is treating other people, and how he is being cut out from power. As the shadow spiders are now going to start dealing with Rifa instead of going through Londo, which, you know, really suits the shadow spiders just fine. I feel like, you know, they're kind of gearing for him to be on the throne. I feel like, but once once he stopped having such aspirations, then hey, Rifa's there. Let's go after him. So I think once he's out of that power loop, is he still as okay with where they are as when he was in the power loop? You know, someone is willing to do a lot of stuff for power, but if you take away the promise of giving them power, are they still willing to do it? So I think that's what we're going to be looking at with Convictions next week.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
And
Derwin?
Joel Miller says, well, not completely wrong. Well, we shall see. But Thomas is shaking his head.
Hey, okay, Roberts. I'm right about the part that happens in the Babylon 5 universe. Yeah, at least I'm not saying that Deep Space Nine is going to be taken over by the Vorlons or by the Shadow Spiders. So, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I look forward to seeing y'all next week as we go over episode 2, season 3.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it, Matthew.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Good night.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will, and be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.